Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Play Battletech with no fair fights, the turn-based tactical combat of MechWarrior. Yes, we're fighting not in giant robots because there are no robots in this game. These are fighting vehicles. These are tanks with legs. And no, there are no aliens, and no, there are no shields or anything like that. It's relatively low tech, except for the fusion reactors and some of the energy weapons. But basically their combat distance is even below our combat distance, because the average combat distance in this game is about 500 meters or less. The long-ranged missiles that these giant things are carrying have a range of 1000 meters at best. And even though if you played the game you've seen a dropship taken out by cruise missiles, that dropship would not have been taken out by cruise missiles in the normal Battletech year 3025 because there are no cruise missiles left. The only system like that would be the Arrow 4 system, and besides Comstor I don't think that anyone had that technology, especially no one in the periphery. Now, what am I talking about? The year is 3025, and mankind has colonized, well, mostly the entire galaxy, but there are no aliens. And so they decided to split up into houses, go back to the systems of lords and ladies, and club each other to death with a giant robot fight, or giant, now I say robots myself, with giant fighting machines and tanks and spaceships, warships, dropships, aerospace fighters and all that. And yes, they have faster than light travel by the use of jump ships. Now they've beaten the crap out of each other so efficiently that they lost some of the technology. There are no warships left, most of the advanced weaponry is gone, and so they're just, well, left with battle mechs that are a couple of 100 years old, and they can nearly build no new ones. And that's where you step in, because you have inherited one of those things. Now you might ask yourself, why am I not selling my battle mech that is worth, I think, about 60 million credits, and credits is not equal to dollars or euros, but close enough. So normally you would take that thing, sell it, and live a happy life ever after. But that's not what mech pilots do. They fight for their life every day to earn enough money to buy their bread and butter. Well, I'm not sure if these guys are so clever, but they're capable anyway, because these things are more than 10 meters tall, and if they fall down, you're falling quite from a height, so normally you get killed by impact, or at least very badly wounded. In this game you're not killed, you're just badly wounded, and you can take a couple of those before you're, well, actually die, or go black. Which I don't mean racist, I mean by blacking out, if you know what I mean. Man, you have to watch these days out. With that being said, why should you watch my videos? Well, for one thing, I know a lot of Battletech, I think, because I've played the game for nearly 25 years. I've played the tabletop, I've played the RPG, I've played all the Battletech games on PC. I played Mech Commander. This game is pretty similar, but a lot better if you ask me, and that means a lot because Mech Commander was absolutely amazing. However, the intro wasn't that good, because the Mech Commander intro is one of the best I've ever seen so far. For those of you who know their way around Battletech, there are no clans. Well, there is just Wolf Dragoons. Theoretically, in 3025 you can run into some kind of clans, but not the clans that we know from later on. And all that Dark Age, Jihad and Civil War stuff is far, far away. And we're fighting the periphery, mainly. So, we're gonna avoid the big houses as we can. We're playing mercs, so money is everything, and that brings me to my playstyle. We'll be building on piloting. Not because we want to punch people in the head in melee, because, whoa, you can do melee! That was not possible in most of the Battletech games around. Not in Mech Commander, not in MechWarrior, not in MechWarrior Online. Now you can finally go toe-to-toe and beat the shit out of the enemy. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. So there is close combat now, there is heat management, which was not active in Mech Commander in the way it is here. You really have to pay your bills, you have to pay for a lot of things. You've got your own dropship. Oh boy, those things are expensive normally. And I think we even got our own jump ship, which is pretty rare. Just to tell you how rare jump ships are, they're forbidden to be destroyed even in war. So even if you are at war with your neighbors and you're killing their women and children and elderly and handicapped, you will not destroy their jump ships, because that would be a crime of war. That's how important these jump ships are, because that is the only way to get from one system to another. So we're going for piloting, not because we want to go melee, I just said that, but because we want to avoid damage, because piloting allows you to move, well, not faster or greater in distance, but you get more benefit in terms of not getting hit, in reducing the enemy's chance to hit you. And then we'll go for tactical, not because we want to fight with a lot of LRMs, because everyone who played any Battletech game at any time knows that simply getting yourself a bunch of long-range missiles is normally a pretty good way to win, with some exceptions, but mainly it's a very good idea no matter which of the games you play. But because we want the initiative bonus, because mechs move in these turn-based systems based on their weight, on their combat weight. So if you've got a light mech, you will move before a heavy mech. However, if you've got some tactical skill, you're able to advance a little bit on that list, and I think that could make quite a difference, because we want to reduce damage as much as we can, because we're mercs. We're not fighting for the win, we're not fighting for the glory, we're not fighting for the honor, we're fighting for the cash. And that means reducing the damage, and reducing the damage means avoiding damage and striking before the enemy can. That's basically the idea. So what you will see in my games will be a lot of running, a lot of maneuvering, a lot of being not very nice to other mechs, because we'll focus them down, and death jumps from above, perhaps, a little bit, and melee damage or melee fighting if the chance arises, basically. With that being said, let's go to character creation. And so here we are. So we are in the rimward periphery. So that's basically, if you think of the entire Battletech universe, this is on the edges, where there is very little law and there is a lot of brutality and there are pirates and all that stuff. So your life is exactly worth as much as you can defend it, basically. So we have to choose which faction we originally came from. What are these factions? Well, these are, up to these are the great houses. That means these are the lords or the protectorates or whatever you would call them, the states that are really powerful. And this down here, these are the periphery guys that are, well, basically just trying to not anger one of the big ones, because then they will get scratched. They're up. From time to time, they're allying with one of the bigger ones just to scrap out some good stuff. But basically, these guys got the cool stuff, the big mechs, and a lot of them. And the big mechs, not the food thing, but the, 10-meter tall 40 machines. And this guy's got mainly tanks and infantry. Not that the others are not using tanks and infantry, because as they cannot build that many more mechs, they're falling back to building tanks and using infantry. But this four down here are really, really off when it comes to technology. They're really behind everything. The Draconis combine. Think of them as the Japanese. Extremely good in technology, extremely good at fighting and doing things in war, because they never back down. They have the fighting spirit, and that's basically the problem, because they're find honorable. And if history teaches you one thing, if you fight honorable, you die. Honor has nothing to do on the battlefield. If you're up for one-on-one battles, that is sport. That has nothing to do with war. That, by the way, is the reason why the clans are a misconception in the first place. The clans are the big enemy that comes later, and they have rules for fighting and bidding their forces. And honestly, if they're fighting someone that is less technologically advanced as they are, they have a chance to win. If they come against anyone who is on the same technology level as they are, they lose, and that makes them miserable warriors. I'm really, really sorry. Great sportsmen, miserable warriors, because that has nothing to do with war. Field Wars Merrick is a little bit like the EU, you would say, and they're as well organized as the EU, and as useful as the EU, and I'm living in Germany, if that helps. Davion, I think think of them like French English style guys. Good at producing, good at, well, not so good at war, but they can hold themselves because of their technology and their production. Steiner, well, Steiner is the German word, or similar or close to the word of stone. And these are basically the Germans, you could say. They're pretty good in trade. Capellan Confederation. Think of them as Japanese, only the exact opposite of the Japanese that Chinese, but exact the opposite of the Chinese that we know. These guys are nuts. And these guys are not capable. And these guys are absolutely useless. I'm sorry to say that, but yes, they are. They're getting kicked their butts all over the place. And that is because the leaders are insane and because their type of ruling is useless. And these guys, they do a lot that sounds like Chinese, but they actually no way Chinese. Magistrate of Canopus. Oh boy, these guys are ruled, or ladies are ruled by ladies, and most of their military is female. That's their main thing, basically. Why they're a minor power, I will say nothing to that. Because I would get stoned or politically not correct or whatever. Taurian Congrad, and that's basically, they are Roman Legion, you could say. A little bit like that. Not very efficient either. Even though they try to be Roman, they're not. Rimwood Periphery, that is all that is left. And then there is the Deep Periphery, that is even further out. So if they get their hands on some kind of justice literature, they will use it to bash your head in, I think. So, we get a blackjack. Oh boy. If you know anything about Battletech, you know that blackjack has a pretty bad reputation in the books. It was somehow lifted by a young cadet who did really interesting stuff in that and defeated a Kurita general that was thinking that swarming the enemy with tons of small mechs would be a good idea, and he stopped that with a blackjack, but basically that is not your first choice. However, it can jump and it can carry weapons and it's decently armored, so it's on the paper it's not that bad, and if you play it in the tabletop it's not that bad, but if you look at it lore-wise, oh boy, is that crap. You were exiled, you were struck down, and we of course are taking, where is it? Piloting and Tactics! Struck down on your own, yes sir. And now we fell for the life of where is it? Do we have piloting? Yes, we have. Merchant Guards. So we're taking the Merchant Guard because piloting, sir. And, well, we ended up in the House Arano Royal Guard in the periphery. Oh boy. And now we can decide if we want to be female or... That does not make any sense. And wait a minute, something's wrong here. I'm German, I'm not English, so help me if I'm wrong here. But she is the female version, he is the male version, and they is the word for many. So I can have many characters? Is that it? Does that make sense? No. There is an old saying in German that says, "Who am I? And if yes, how many?" Seems to be like we can be multiple personalities, but I think that is a mental disorder. I might be wrong about that one. Well, that makes no sense. A call sign. Mutabor. First name. Well, what a question. Last name. No. After the famous historical guy in the Napoleonic War, but that's a different story altogether. And last time I checked, I was male. So, but I've got no beard. That possible? I don't want a beard. Oh boy, I didn't want that. Yay! No, I know how to shave. I'm not insane. Hairstyle. Oh boy, I've got not so many hair left. So much. A little bit more like that. Well, actually, this now comes pretty close, but I'm 40 years old. Okay. That is not that important. Okay. So We could confirm now and start, but the loading times are pretty high in this game, so I would stop it here. I hope I have not upset your feelings by talking about the Magistrate of Canopus, or about Big Macs, or about blacking out, or whatever, because I normally am a really nice person, besides my political views, I think that is. But anyway, next time we see each other, we'll be riding to combat in our blackjack. And I'll skip the tutorial and go right into the real fights. Hope I will see you there. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye.